Welcome to OSM Fencing Beginner's Epee. I'll be your coach, Orion Stone McNeil. This is our second lesson of our four-part introduction to Beginner's Epee. In this lesson, we will be looking at attacking. Let's get started. We're going to be looking at three principal attacks in this lesson. We're looking at point and line, the lunge, and the fleche. To help out with this lesson and the next two lessons that follow, I have Kyle DeVoe, a good friend coming in. He's a former Team Canada CISM Epeeist, so he brings a lot of experience to the video. I hope you appreciate his contribution and the effort he puts in to help expand your understanding of Epee. However, before we get into our lesson, I want to expand on one issue that affects Epee, and that is we don't have right of way. We lack that protocol. The convention is just not there. So if we look at foil and saber for a moment, if you're making the attack, you're secure in having right of way. So if you hit your opponent and your opponent hits you, their touch is invalidated. They don't have right of way, so you'll get the point. In Epee, that's not the case. So if you're attacking, you don't have that safety net. If you attack, they can attack you too. So if you both hit, you both get a point. Or if you attack and your attack fails and theirs succeeds, they get the point, you don't. So it's a very serious hazard. Another disadvantage specific to Epee that doesn't affect foil is that foil has off targets. If you hit something that's not a valid target, a white light goes off. The machine stops the match and the action has to start over again. In Epee, that doesn't exist. So if you make an attack and you don't hit your opponent and they hit you, you get it. But this is also kind of a double-edged sword because there's no off target. You hit anywhere on the body, you get a point. But this just means as the attacker, you have so much more at risk when you're making your action. So let's make sure we follow these lessons, these actions very carefully so that when you're making your attack, you're doing so from a stable and effective position. Before we get started with our attacks, we're going to talk a little bit about the extension. Different from foil, when you make the extension in Epee, you want to make sure that you can control the entire target of opportunity. So when you extend your arm, you want to make sure that you have it in a high line. This allows you to hit any area of the target. So I can hit the shoulder, I can hit the head, I can hit the arm, and I can fall for the lower targets. So when you make your extension, you want to make sure that the arm is fully extended. You want the point of line to be approximately at your forehead in height, and this is where you can start to execute your attack. You do not want your extension to stop at shoulder length because this won't give you as much control. You don't have the same variety of targets to hit. Let's get started with our attacks. Our first attack is going to be the point and line. Similar to foil, it's going to be a continuous line threatening the target from the point to your shoulder. However, you want to execute it well before you initiate any movement with your feet. So if I'm on guard and I step forward, Kyle can initiate point and line just by extending his arm into my movement. As you can see, upon the hit, the pressure of the hit will help his arm move upwards, so the bell of his guard should be at eye level when I return back to on guard. Now he can also do the point and line with the initiation of his footwork. So if he wants to step forward, it's going to be his point and line. He strikes. Again, the bell is now approximately at eye level, and then he can step back. This is our first attack. Our second attack is the lunge. Similar to our point and line, you are going to start by establishing a continuous line with your blade from point to shoulder. However, you are then going to apply force from your back leg while you're kicking forward with your front with the full extension. When you land, this is going to be your lunge. You want to make sure you're hitting before or approximately the same time as your foot is landing. So if I'm on guard, Kyle's going to establish point and line, and then he's going to initiate his lunge. You can see when he hits, his bell is still approximately at eye level. He's established line first, then he initiates the hit. He hits at the same time as his foot makes contact with the floor. Having just seen our lunge, I want to bring your attention to one more thing. And that is when you're making your lunge, yes, you do want to hit at the same time or just before your foot lands, but I want you to also look at the positioning of your knee in relation to your feet. So if you do your lunge, you want to make sure that your knee is directly above or slightly behind your ankle. You don't want it so that you're leaning past it. Same thing in foil. So when you make your lunge, make sure your knee is not overextended. Make sure your foot is either directly under it or pushed well out in front. So again, we did just do our lunges, but when you're doing them yourself, make sure you're keeping your knee in the right position. Our third attack is going to be the Fleche, which is French for arrow. It's an explosive action where you are flying towards your opponent to make the hit. Starting in the on guard position, you're going to extend your arm and point in line, threatening the target. You're going to lean forward so that all your weight is now on your front leg. You're going to continue leaning until you feel like you're drifting forward. You cross over with your back, and then you propel yourself forward. So it is going to be a running attack. Let's have a look at how it works. Now that we've had a look at our three attacks and how they work, it's time that we look at our drills. Now, make sure that you do follow these drills exactly as they're outlined. They're all going to follow the same sort of pattern. You're going to do them for 3 minutes, take a 30-second break, and then another 3 minutes. So make sure you follow that. However, I also strongly recommend that you just repeat each drill until you feel comfortable with it. Don't just do the 3 minutes, 30 seconds, 3 minutes and go, I'm done. Make sure you do it until you're comfortable with the action. Now, here are our drills. Excellent, you guys. You all did really well. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I really hope you appreciated Kyle DeVoe's participation. He really brought a lot to this video. So again, a big thank you to him. He's coming back for lesson 3 and lesson 4, so keep your eyes out for him. Now, again, this lesson did kind of breeze through, so do make sure you follow up with Annex 2. We will cover more information in that will help flesh out the lesson. Don't skip past it. Make sure you follow it up before you do lesson 3. You guys were awesome. I'll see you for the next lesson.